If a child has died in a hospital or under medical care, and there's the potential for medical error, they possibly died due to medical error, do you need a lawyer? What about a senior citizen, an elderly person, grandma, or an elderly spouse died in a hospital or under medical care? And again, there's the potential for a medical error that may have caused or led to the death. Do you need a lawyer under those set of circumstances? Again, it depends. And sometimes families will forego legal counsel and handle the situation on their own because, to be frank, no one counts on a child or a senior citizen to pay the mortgage at the end of the month, or to put food on the table, or build up a pay for a college education fund. There's just not those economic needs. Moreover, because the person's dead, the child or the senior citizen is dead, there's going to be no expenses going forward. There's going to be no medical expenses going forward. So, sometimes families will handle these situations on their own because, they don't think the money is that important, and they're more interested in just addressing the emotional needs of, getting the apology and, if it was an error, finding out how the mistake is going to be fixed and seeing the hospital improve, and so on and so forth. And that's absolutely their right. As I've said throughout this process, it's absolutely your right to get a lawyer and call a lawyer anytime you want and hire a lawyer. And we've always encouraged you to get your questions answered by competent legal counsel, because none of this is legal advice. It's just advice. But on the flip side, while you have a right to get a lawyer, you have a right to refuse legal counsel. You don't need to hire a lawyer if you don't think you want to. And these type of circumstances, again, sometimes families think they can handle it best on their own. They don't want to go down that process, the legal process, and that is their right. However, I'll give you a couple of different things to think about. Sometimes, talking with a hospital, with a doctor or a group of doctors, an insurance company about a death, especially if it's a death of a child, can be so emotionally overwhelming for a family. That they just can't do it. They just can't do it. And that's where competent legal counsel can step in and help. And, because they're a little bit more emotionally detached than you are, they can have a conversation with the hospital, with the insurance company, convey your wishes, your needs, and also help you think through what might be your wishes and needs, and bring everybody to where they need to be. And help everybody through that process, including the doctors and nurses. Second thing to think about is, child dies, elderly person dies, you go back to the hospital, you go back to the doctor, and you get nothing but the door slammed in your face. You don't get sorry, you don't get any acknowledgement, you get no proactive behavior. All you see is doctors, nurses, and hospital administrators running for the hills, literally. Under that set of circumstances, even if you don't need the money, hire a lawyer, because while you may not need the money, you need answers. You need acknowledgement. You need closure. Because I've talked to one too many families who, again, didn't need the money. Maybe they just weren't very up on filing a lawsuit. Just, the doctor won't talk. Oh, well, literally we bury our dead and move on. Problem is they have trouble moving on. They literally have trouble moving on. The grieving process for some of these folks can unfortunately be interrupted because they just don't get the answers. They don't get the closure they need, and these questions literally will haunt them, and sometimes, unfortunately, make them crazy. So even if you don't need the money, if you're getting the door slammed in your face, you're not getting that acknowledgement, for goodness sake, do get a lawyer and do what that lawyer tells you to do, including file litigation, because if a mistake did take the life of your child, of your elderly spouse or grandmother, and you're not getting answers when you deserve answers, then definitely consider contacting qualified counsel in your area.